Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm your host, Sean Boyle, and with me is...
Ashley Mock.
You know, we talked about how fully caffeinated I am.
You are.
Just starting to talk, my legs already bouncing. I got that much caffeine going through me. But welcome to the 1-hour commercial-free radio/TV program that's all about connecting you, the listener, and the viewer to what resources are available to children and families in St. Lucie County. We've been doing this show for...
Feels like forever. No. I'm kidding.
3 months. No, about 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. And the show kind of came about because at the Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County, we're an independent special district, and we do 5 things for St. Lucie County. The first thing that we do is we ensure every baby is a healthy baby. Second thing we do, and these aren't in priority order, these are just how I memorize them. The second thing that we do is we stop child abuse before it happens. The third thing that we do is we keep kids off the streets, we keep them in school, and we keep them off drugs and alcohol. And we do this by funding and providing operating support to 53 children's programs that last year reached over 34,000 children and 30,000 parents here in St. Lucie County. I should say caregivers.
I like to take your comment that you always say that kids don't live in little houses and drive their own cars to school, that they have parents in their house, and that's why we serve the parents too, because we know that you can't just provide services to the child and expect them to be successful. We have to serve the parents as well. But
although I'm sure there are some parents out there who wish that that was the case. Parents of teenagers. Speaking for myself at times.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. But I encourage our listeners, you may think, and viewers, I'm going to turn the station and listen to some music. But chances are, even if your children are grown, or you're a grandparent maybe, or an aunt or an uncle, or maybe a congregation member that has children or coworkers, these resources are available to all families in St. Lucie County. So whether or not you utilize the resource that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about a couple of things, you are part of the effort to help get this community connected to resources so that people are aware that there is help out there.
And there's a couple different ways that you can learn more about the programs that Sean mentioned. Again, there are 53 of them, so there's no way that we could list them all on the radio program. We could try maybe, but I don't think
I'm getting my handouts ready for the TV audience. Bear with me.
But we've got a couple ways that you can learn more about them. And the first is through our Family Guide to Programs. We have, for the last several years, printed a copy of our Family Guide that gives a brief description of what each one of those programs does, as well as contact information, which is really important because a lot of times the hardest step is making that first phone call if families are in need of services. So we put together this quick list as a way for families to have that information readily available. And we have printed copies throughout the community at our funded program agencies at various locations. But if you have a location where we might be able to display some of those family guides, please get in touch with us and we can deliver some to you. If it's your business or your church, we can have those delivered to you so that you can have some there. We also have a new app, which is a really easy way to get information about our funded programs as well as community events that are coming up. If you visit your app store, both Android and Apple, you can either search CSC, SLC, or Children's Services Council and find our app there. It is free, and it will actually give you the same access to the Family Guide, a description of each one of the programs, and also mapping software is in there as well. So if maybe you're looking for an after-school program and you want it to be close to your home or close to your job, you can identify exactly where those programs are located and which one is closest to you.
And you know what I like about the app is 53 programs. The after-school programs are clearly location-based. Mm-hmm. But, sometimes we'll get a call and somebody will be like, I need parenting support. Where do I go for that service? Well, it clearly indicates that a lot of those services come to you.
Right.
Kind of remove any of those transportation obstacles. So the app clearly defines, like if there's no address, you don't need to map it out because they will come to you.
That's right. And again, the app is free, which is our favorite word, and you can get it for both Apple and Android phones.
And, you mentioned our website as well, cscslc.org, shameless plug there. We mentioned the 34,000 children that we served last year and the parents, and, you mentioned how children don't live by themselves. We have a video on our website. It's only, I think it's about 4 minutes long. And, we talk about this all the time on this radio program if you're a longtime listener and TV show. there are a lot of positive things happening in this community, a lot of success stories. If you just read the newspaper, a lot of times they utilize their space to sell the paper to focus on the negative. But there is a lot of positive going on. There is a short little 4-minute video. It's probably about a year and a half old now, 2 years old, following 3 families that went through our funded programs and telling their story and what these resources in the community mean to them. And it's just a great pick-me-up. My favorite one is Stephen, who went to the Future Generations program, and it's just an interview with him. And he talks about if it weren't for this program, he would have been on the streets, joined a gang, probably been arrested. And I always tell people, because we have a big poster of Stephen that we carry around with that quote, and I always tell people, I'm like, I want to tell you a story, and I always point to Stephen. I said, but he's no longer enrolled in our program, and people in one of our funded programs. And people always think, oh my gosh, something bad happened. And I tell the story, and I'm always say he's no longer in the program because he graduated high school. He's working at Best Buy, and he's studying to become a law enforcement officer
in the police academy.
So we're fortunate, and we kind of have a different perspective on St. Lucie County. We see all the issues and the struggles that families have, but we also see the stories of lives being changed for the positive. You just posted on Facebook, which we'll talk about Facebook here in a second, a success story.
A great story.
Of Fred, Amy, and Blake Longar.
Yeah, and if anyone
and Logan, I don't know if Logan's in the story, but Logan's a recipient of services as well.
He might be mentioned. Anybody who's a longtime listener of the show would probably recognize Fred's name. He's a longtime supporter of ours and caller. But the story is a great one, and it really highlights how we have a continuum of care, not just one program, but several programs that ensure that families get off to a good start, and then to follow those children as they grow and develop to make sure that they're meeting all the milestones that they can and have the best opportunity to be successful. There's a great quote in there from Amy, who says that as a medical professional, she really values the programs like our newborn home visitation program, because even though she has that medical knowledge and background, it's so helpful to have someone come in and reassure you as a parent and give you the confidence that you need to keep going. So I think it's a really great story. If you have a moment to read it, it's posted on our website. You'll see it actually right on the front page. There's a picture of Fred and Blake on there. But it's a good story.
And it's also on Facebook.
It is on Facebook. It has gotten to be a very popular Facebook story, actually.
Do you want to tell everybody how they can find us on Facebook?
Sure.
Because we want everybody to find us on Facebook. If you're listening right now, find us on Facebook.
We are very proud of our Facebook page. We share a lot of information there, not just about our programs, but about things that are going on in the community and issues that are important to parents. Sorry, I'm fixing stuff that I'm breaking here. But you can find us on Facebook just by searching Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. There are 8 other Children's Services Councils around the state, but we would hope that you would find the one that is here local, serving your families. So find us there, get connected to us. We share a lot of information there. You can also reach out to us and ask questions there. We've gotten a lot of questions recently. We had some families even reach out after they read Fred and Amy's story about some issues that they were having with their children and how it sounded very similar. So, we're always accessible in many different ways, and we look forward to connecting with all of you.
I was just going to share that because we post all these success stories, and that's part of what we do to help spread the word about resources, is to let families connect with other families who maybe have issues that they're going through, but also to see who they connected with to resolve that issue or get over that obstacle. And it was, you said you got an email once the
same day
of a mother who said, my child is going through the exact same thing. How can I get connected with what Amy and Fred got connected to?
Yep.
And my favorite quote from Amy, and I'm not going to get it right, so I shouldn't even say it's a quote, but the fact that she was born and raised in St. Lucie County, and a lot of her friends left the area, and when she talks to them about what resources and the nurse home visitation that she got, they're like, why isn't this happening in our community? Yeah. And it just makes us even more proud. And we talked about this last week, and you and Sharon are born and raised in St. Lucie County.
Wow.
Yay. Which is pretty unique.
And actually, we were at an event this morning, the United Way's Spirit of St. Lucie breakfast, and one of the award winners I know, who he was also born and raised in St. Lucie County, but he accepted an award on behalf of Enterprise and mentioned the fact that he was born and raised there. And I was so happy that he got applause for that.
Yeah. I heard that
people
applause.
Broke out in applause. It wasn't
I just
me.
assumed it was you.
No, it wasn't.
No, that is unique.
But it is. And it's great. I love living here. I talk about the fact that I grew up here all the time. People are often shocked, but that's okay. I get a lot of, you're Jerry and Debbie's
They just
daughter.
assume you're still in high school.
Whoa, I don't know about that. Sean's saying that because my photo ID at work looks like I'm still in high school.
It does.
It really does.
How many years ago was that taken, though?
8.
8.
Uh-oh.
You were almost out of high school then.
No, not quite.
But yes, people know you as, we
Jerry
used to
and Debbie's daughter.
go do presentations, and I'm like, oh, Ashley's coming with me. I'm not going to speak because everyone's going to know Ashley because, are you Jerry and... What's your mom's name? I forget. Deb's daughter.
I've been actually introduced at places. My mom is a teacher. She's been in the school district for 37 years.
Wow.
And I have been introduced at school events as Debbie Mock before, as my mom, which is fine. I'll take that. But
All right. Well, shifting gears just a little bit real quick. Let's talk about what we did last Saturday. Besides get wet.
I was going to say.
Very wet.
Besides get rained
But
on for
before it
about
got
an
really
hour.
wet.
We had a great time. The Boys and Girls Club hosted their first ever Day for Kids, which was a national initiative of Boys and Girls Club of America. And we had Megan and Linda on last week to talk about it. And it was a great time. We had a really great time until it started pouring. But they had a lot of activities for kids. They had a petting zoo, which was
They
awesome.
had pigs, like baby pigs.
I know, my husband almost came home with one. Thank goodness he didn't.
And they had that guy that was doing the balloon art.
He was awesome.
phenomenal.
I know. Some of those balloons that he did.
His pants were crazy that he was wearing. It looked like he brought back like the MC Hammer pants.
I think people actually stayed in the rain to get balloons. He was
it's
still doing
incredible.
balloons as it was raining.
Did you get
but
one, by the way?
I didn't. I'm really bummed too because I wanted a penguin.
If you go on our Facebook page, we obviously do Facebook. Look up Children's Services Council, St. Lucie County. We sort of do Twitter, and I have a reason for bringing this up. You can look up the agency is CSC SLC, right? Or you can Ashley has a Twitter feed, and you can just look up Ashley with an E. And an L and a Y. Ashley, CSC, SLC. I have one, Sean, SEAN, CSC, SLC. I say all this to say that I tweeted because the potato sack races happened right in front of us.
They did.
So I got a great snapshot of, the child that was wearing our CSC bag. I put all my money on her. She finished second.
So close, though.
But still, it was nice to be represented in the race.
Yes, but Boys and Girls Club did a great job putting that event together. Sadly, it was rained out the last couple of hours.
But it was good. It was a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
Jam-packed. And, I don't know if you want to do your voice about when people say there's nothing to do.
No, I'm not going to do it because it's a lie. There's always something to do.
I know, but you have this
I
voice.
can't.
All right. But there's always something to do. So last weekend, there was a Day for Kids event. This weekend, where are we going to be?
This weekend, we are going to be at Museum Point Park, which I'm sure that no one knows exactly where that is, but it's
You have to
Danny does.
Give me directions, because I'm going to be there.
It is right at the bottom of the South Bridge, where the aquarium and the historical center is. That's right. Turn left at the bottom of the bridge. We are going to be there with several. Yes, in Fort Pierce. I'm sorry. Need to clarify that.
Yeah, we assumed, but that's a good point.
Good point. We will be there with several other organizations who will be celebrating the Indian River Lagoon Science Festival. There was a great write-up in the paper earlier this week about all the things that were going on to kind of highlight the lagoon and all of the animals that live in the lagoon that we're so proud to have here. Harbor Branch is a huge sponsor of this event this weekend, and I heard that they are going to have some of their touch tanks out, so you can actually play with some of the animals from the river, from the lagoon. But we'll be there.
We get some odd faces in the studio. Like,
Rosanna's not going to come now because
what date is that?
It is Saturday the 27th, right? Yeah, the 27th. I only remember that because my anniversary is Thursday, the 25th.
Oh, wow.
You write that down.
I am.
But Saturday the 27th, we will be at the Science Festival from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so we'll be there for most of the day.
Since we're so science and technology oriented, that's not really what we're going to be doing besides giving out information about.
It's not a science experiment.
It's not a science experiment. unless it rains, and then how to get it done during the rain. But we are going to bring our neighborhood postcard project there. So people, when they come to our table, just like we've done in the last couple events, they'll get a little postcard, and they can draw or write what they like most about our community or living here in St. Lucie County. They complete it, and we send it out to random people in the community. They get a postcard saying this was created by a child in your community. Again, just part of our effort to instill and bring to the forefront community pride and children in our community.
We got a lot of great ones from the Boys and Girls Club event this weekend that were of bounce houses. Did you notice that?
Yeah, which was weird because there's this huge bounce house right behind us.
They looked like castles.
But you know what? If I was 6 years old and you asked me to fill out a card, and all I could think about is I want to go in that bounce house, good chance that my picture would be a bounce house as well.
Good point. That's a good point.
All right, so let me pause real quick for station ID because we're a little behind. I want to remind everybody you're listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County on legendary 1400 AM WIRA, or you're watching us on a plethora of channels through the WLX TV. What's wrong? Why did I didn't even get started.
I'm laughing at Rosanna.
At WLX TV, St. Lucie Education Channel, Comcast viewers in Fort Pierce Channel 13, Comcast viewers in Port St. Lucie Channel 19, Hometown Cable Channel 19, ATT Uverse Channel 99, and Lightstream Cable at St. James Channel 65. That's
Good job.
2 in a row, counting to last week.
Good job.
All right, I don't know which one of our guests wants to go first. I think I saw one pop a throat lozenge
Someone's
in.
pointing fingers.
The other one has been coughing.
I can't find a throat.
No, we are so excited to have Rosanna Gonzalez with us today. I'm sure that Rosanna's face is probably familiar to lots of you, but she is here today representing New Horizons of the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee now, too, right?
Yes.
But you guys have a lot of things that are coming up, some events that we're going to talk about. But can you first kind of give everybody an overview of the services that New Horizons provides?
Certainly can. Thank you guys for having me. And I love being here with a friend from my foster care days, who I just love. And also, what can I say about the two of you? You're celebrities
You don't have to
in
say
town. Oh,
We're celebrities in town.
you guys are such celebrities in
You're the
town.
reason why I can't listen to jazz for an hour. I'm angry.
You're celebrities in town, so much so that we were at the same breakfast this morning, and you turned your head when I walked by. I'm just kidding.
I didn't even see you there.
Well, anyway, let's talk about what New Horizons does.
Okay.
We are your community mental health facility. We have been here for 55 years. We have 350 employees, which a lot of people don't know that, which makes us one of the largest employers in St. Lucie County. Yes, indeed. And bottom line is that we are having so many services now in the community that people weren't even aware of. Of course, we have the Children's Center, which is the Francis Langford Crisis Center, and that is a wonderful facility that is there because years ago we used to have children that had mental illness issues or substance abuse issues, and we would have to get them to go away to other counties and frankly up to Orlando, which, can you imagine, a child's going through a crisis and now she has to leave or he has to leave their family. So one of the things that we are so proud of is we were able to get the support of the Francis Langford Foundation, who were wonderful in giving us the opportunity to build the Children's Center, and we have been serving children now and really seeing what happens afterwards. Recently in October we opened up our children's outpatient center, and that's right next door to the Children's Center. And one of the things is it used to be behind like ABC Liquors on US 1. We didn't think that was like a really attractive location, and because the children can't go to our outpatient facilities in where the adults go, we needed something special for them. So I'm very proud of that because it gives us another place locally where we can take care of children that have those issues. We serve unduplicated about 11,000 people a year.
Wow.
It's a lot of people, adults, children, adolescents, and families. As you all well know, if we have children in our center, They are usually given wraparound services afterwards, which is wonderful because it's not like here you came in, now go away. We have great doctors, great nurses, and great professionals, really caring professionals. People say to me, what's back there? Because we have a very large campus. It's 33 acres, and most people don't know that, we've been there for as long as we have. It's been about 16 years. But what they don't realize is that we have a great relationship with the Sheriff's Department. We have a great relationship with hospitals in the area. We're kind of a quiet asset to the community that not a lot of people are familiar with. I love getting out the message about the stigma of mental health and drug and alcohol abuse. I will tell you right now that I'm ashamed to say that I didn't think that there was recovery from mental illness. I knew about recovery from substance abuse and I knew it from alcoholism, but I didn't know. And so even I, coming to work here, was still very ignorant, and a lot of people are too. We have an 88-bed facility in St. Lucie County, right there on Midway Road. We take care of people that have drug and substance abuse problems. They come in. It's a 24-hour-a-day. So if anybody's in trouble and you know of anyone in trouble and they need help, they can come. They can walk right up. I mean, we prefer, obviously, a call first. And we do get a lot of people that come in ambulances or come with the police forces. We're talking about people in our community that suffer from a more chronic mental illness or an illness that they are not presently being medicated with, or therapy, they aren't getting that. And so what ends up happening is we see these people, we see them on the street, we see a lot of homeless people, but what I like to tell people is we all in our families have someone who has suffered from a mental illness. We all have someone who has suffered from depression, anxiety, other things like that, all the way up to something more serious. We just don't talk about it in our society. And my thing is we need to talk about it because it's all about what we're talking about now at New Horizons with our new primary care clinic that we have. That's the other one that opened last year, and that's incredible because people with mental illness die 25 years before the general population. Obviously, if you're in your head, you're not thinking about your cholesterol, your sugar, all those things. And really, a lot of our clients are below the poverty level, so again, they don't have the money or the resources. We do have so many that come through. We decided that it would be a great idea, and with the help of the Blue Foundation, we were able to build a beautiful primary care clinic, and it's there for our clients to come in and get primary care. The doctors there and the nurses there have already saved lives in our community. People that had not been screened before for things like diabetes or heart disease or even cancer now, because they're used to coming to our facility, so they don't feel that they're not going to be let in and treated with care and with respect. And what I talk about a minute ago when I was saying about wellness is that what we need to talk about is full wellness. I always say at the chamber events, get a checkup from the neck up. I heard a statistic that said that 74% of visits to the regular doctor usually are due to an emotional issue. Wow. That's a huge figure. Obstetricians and people like that are more apt to refer their patients because, you have postpartum depression, you have all those other kind of issues, and they're more likely. But what we want to know is we want to make sure that people, if they need an assessment, they can come into our receiving unit, which is right there on Midway Road, and they come in there and we assess them and we make a decision whether they'd like to stay in or if they need to go to, or we just need to detox them, or what other issues that we can help them with.
It's funny because you were talking and while you were talking, I think it was like a year ago or so when there was a lot of gun violence making national news. They were talking a lot about, gun control and all that, but the conversation that we needed to be having, and it started a little bit, but it never really grew, was mental illness, and addressing the mental needs of people in our community. And you're right, the person that you see on the street corner that's talking to himself might be suffering from a mental illness, or the homeless person, or I'm sure the jail population. I've heard
Right.
this a lot. A lot of that is populated with people with substance abuse and mental illness issues. What I wanted to ask was, for our listeners, because we're mostly children and family focused on the
yes.
show. So, when is the appropriate time to call New Horizons, and how do they call? What's the number?
Okay. Well, you call anytime you see your child is having silent depression, those types of, when they're not acting the way that you've seen them act normally. Obviously, childhood depression is really important for us to know if they start doing things like cutting themselves, if they start being very isolated and they're not really being the type of child that you saw a week ago, then that's when you start to wonder and to call. And you call 1-888-468-5600. That line is open 24 hours. We have wonderful staff that are ready and waiting to take your call. It's amazing, children develop a lot of the mental illnesses that they're going to have in adulthood come to light in their prepubescent and puberty years. And so if we can get kids that come in with that, we can stop them from this years of suffering, of maybe self-medicating with drugs and alcohol, of maybe self-medicating with a million different drugs. And what we can do is we can get them in there and start dealing with the issues that are maybe a chemical imbalance, maybe something along those lines. But I think that people need to understand that it's full wellness when you join your head and your body. And you can't have one without the other.
Right. And, I'm glad when we talk about what to look for in children cutting, and I say this because I've gotten a couple of Facebook messages, either people I know or even through Children's Services Council Facebook page, about they know of a teen that's starting to cut. And my first thing is, you need to call New Horizons. This is, don't mess around with this.
Nope.
Don't wait. It may seem, superficial, but it could be something very serious.
And I like what you said about, the whole gun control thing and everything. And, it happens all the time. And we all are supportive of so many great causes, But one of the things that I do say is, Robin Williams commits suicide and everybody's talking about it for a week. And then everybody forgets about it. And what I really would love to happen is that people would support New Horizons the way they support other agencies. And it's that fear factor. You know what I mean? People don't understand people that have mental illness. And to tell you the truth, there's no difference between any of us and people that have mental illness. We have a race coming up. It's called Race for Recovery. That is on October the 4th. It's our 4th year that we've had it. We have wonderful support from the community that come out, but we need more, obviously. If you're a runner, active.com, get on there, come and run with us. If you're a walker, come and support us in that way. There'll be plenty of food. There'll be plenty of activities. You're even going to get a massage from Premier Wellness while you're there, but you have to be a walker. No, I'm just kidding.
But you have to run for that,
Just come
right?
for the massage?
Yeah,
No.
really.
Okay.
And it's supporting recovery from mental and substance abuse. People that need this help, people that want to enjoy the fellowship. And one of the things that we provide for people is also a place where they can get support from mental illness, from drug abuse, from alcohol abuse, and mentor each other. And it was the most wonderful events that I went to this year was our Independence Recovery Alumni Picnic. The past clients that had been in Independence Recovery, which is our 28-day treatment program, organized this picnic. And when you saw them coming up, and the families, and you see people that are putting their life back together after years of being, just decimated by drugs, alcohol, or a mental illness that wasn't diagnosed. You see all these wonderful people. I mean, we look like regular people up there just having a great time. And I just looked around and I thought, the only difference between these people and other people is, number one, they don't know. They don't know about the services, and they don't know that all they have to do, again, is call 1-888-468-5600. Please reach out. It's a matter of life or death. I'm not being dramatic when I say that.
No, it is.
It's a matter of life or death. And I can't be prouder of the people that serve over there. We have 4 offices. Obviously, the biggest office we have is right there on Midway Road. But if you're in Okeechobee, if you're in Stewart, and you're in Vero Beach, we have those services out there too. So we just urge everyone to please call us and know that it's okay.
Yes. And I'm going to pause real quick for station ID, and then I want to get more details on the run walk. And I was grateful that you said that it's also a walk because, all right, these knees don't run. All right. I want to remind everybody you're listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County on legendary 1400 AM WIRA, or you're watching us on WLX, the St. Lucie Education Channel, Comcast, Fort Pierce viewers, Channel 13. She was making fun of me already. Channel 19, Comcast viewers, Port St. Lucie. Hometown Cable, Channel 19. ATTU verse Channel 99. And Lightstream Cable at St. James, Channel 65. Didn't even look at my notes on that one.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning
You're
in.
impressed.
I'm very
All right.
impressed.
So we want everybody to be aware, and you're right, mental illness, substance abuse, sometimes people suffer in silence, or they don't know that it's a medical thing. And it's like, what did you say, get the check from the neck up?
Check up from the
Check
neck
up from the neck up. And simple call 1-888-468-5600. And just like Rosanna said, if you have a child in the household and their behavior has changed, don't wait, because if it is a mental illness issue, it can be addressed, and it's better to address it earlier than to wait for it to get bigger and bigger and something really bad happen. All right, I want to talk about the run walk, because we always ask all of our guests, what can the community do to help? Clearly, not everybody can run, but everybody can walk for the most part.
And I'm surprised that you can't run when I've seen you skateboard.
See?
Yeah, but that's not running. That's standing on a moving object. There's a big
Maybe you
difference.
should bring your skateboard.
Bring your
I
skateboard.
would
There
totally
you
do
go.
that, for sure.
Well, it's an early morning, and that's what I tell everybody. Be there. The race starts at 7:30. It's going to be around the course that goes around Met Stadium. We finally yesterday got the approval that we're going to be going from inside Met Stadium out and then into Met Stadium again. So we're gonna. I don't remember. I'm not a real good baseball player, but I think we go on one base and come back on another. So that's
Nice.
supposedly impressive to men. So and
You
other
get me in the stadium, I'm pretty excited. To be on the bases,
So
I'm
we're
really
going to be
excited.
in there. We have great support from the community, but we'd love to see you out there, even if it's just to support. We have Starbucks coffee. We're going to have some food. We're going to have some fruit from Nelson.
You got Ashley with the massage
I'll
coffee.
be there.
We have Nelson Family Farms is providing the fruits as they have for 4 years, and that's what we need the community for. Support all these places that support people like the Children's Services Councils like us, because we are a community, and together it does take a village. I'm sorry, but it does. And so come out. We're going to have a lot of fun, good music. A DJ is going to be there. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be just really promoting better health and telling people what they need to do if they need help.
Do people register online? Do they pay to
Yes,
run,
it's
walk?
30. It's 30. It's 30. It's $30 a person to run or walk, and but please come and support. We really love the idea of fellowship. People that are in 12-step programs, we would love to see them there. People that have been at New Horizons and haven't checked in with us for a while. People in the community that supported the Francis Langford Children's Center. We'd love to see you there to have everyone understand that we really take care of a great need that there is in the community, but we couldn't do it without the community. And as I said, our sheriff's department, the police officers, firefighters, we have such a great relationship with all of them, and we couldn't do what we do without them.
Let me ask real quick, how do they register? Do they go to active.com?
Active.com if they want to. If not, give me a call at 772-672-8333. That's 772-672-8333. Please call.
And we can, I think we actually have this information on the community calendar for the date of the event, but we can post some links to the registration
That'd be
pages
great.
as well if anybody is interested. We spend a lot of time at Trish Field, Met Stadium, but
We know where it's at.
Yeah, I think we could make it over there to walk for sure, not run.
Yeah. If I can bring my longboard, I'm kind of. I don't think I could do that on the field though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
I don't
going to
think
be a
they would
little
let you on
bumpy.
there. Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
That's an
There you go.
idea. I like
Who's
it.
that guy on the sidewalk doing all that stupid stuff?
And the fire department will be there in case you need a bus for us to take you anywhere.
In case you hurt yourself on your longboard. See, she's looking out for you.
I'm always
Thank you.
looking out for
Thank
you.
Now I'm going to crash. But we want everybody to come out. It's on October 4th. I
That's
wrote
a
it there.
Saturday
Race
morning.
for Recovery. To support New Horizons, to get together with your fellow community and make this mental illness and substance abuse no longer silent. We can help people if people get connected to the resource, which is New Horizons. If you have a child, we're a little family focused here. If you have a child that's maybe his behavior has changed, maybe they're isolating themselves a little bit more, or doing something like cutting or something. Take it very seriously. Better to be safe than sorry. Simply call 1-888-468-5600. The professionals at New Horizons will help you out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you going to go? Are you going to walk, run?
I'm going to try. That's Rob's birthday.
Oh, that's right. She
October
told me
5th.
that
He could
already.
carry
so
you.
no.
That's a
big
great
guy.
idea.
I'll get you out.
Piggyback ride.
I'll get you out
5K.
of there by 11. That's what I'm telling everybody.
We're not that slow a walker. Come on.
I can walk faster than that, Rosanna.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
coming
much
on.
for having me. I so appreciate it.
no problem.
Couldn't
It was
do
great.
And by the way, without your funding, we couldn't do what we do at the Children's Center. And so I want to urge everyone on November 4th, please vote yes for Children's Services Council. We need you. You don't even realize what this town would be like without it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As we transition to guest, Rosanna kind of led up to it. So let me talk a little bit about Children's Services Council. And I'm not here to tell you how to vote one way or the other. Not allowed to do that and not doing that. We're established in 1990 by the community. Community voted at that time to vote yes for children for the Children's Services Council. At that time, I think we became the first of 5 or 6 in the state of Florida. There's now 8. They only exist in the state of Florida. We've been providing funding and major support to programs. To give you an idea, it's the Boys and Girls Club, it's the New Horizons, it's Castle, it's Avenue D Boys and Girls Choir, it's the Nurse Home Visitation, 53 programs. Of those 53 programs, 44 of them receive 50% or more of their operating funding from us. So we kind of provide the backbone of support for these nonprofit organizations to serve children and families in St. Lucie County. And we've been doing it since 1990. This current year, last year, 34,000 children served. Fast forward to November 4th, 2014, which is about a month and a half away or so. And this community will once again have an opportunity to vote yes or no. It's a simple question. It's going to be question number 4 on the back of your ballot. It's going to actually say referendum number 4, reauthorization of Children's Services Council, and the community will be asked yes or no to reauthorize the Children's Services Council. The implications of the yes or the no vote. The yes vote, that funding and that resources that provide that support to the programs will continue. If it's a no vote, that funding and that resources for programs will discontinue. We've already spoken to the county and the cities and other funders. There's nobody else to pick up this funding. So I'm not here. All I'm going to tell you is get out, get informed, make a decision, and go out and vote.
And we don't often talk about the numbers behind it, but we, at the United Way event this morning, they actually talked a little bit about their total campaign. They're kicking off their annual campaign. They do amazing fundraising here locally in St. Lucie County, and there's no way that the United Way or any other funder like them would have the capacity to pick up the funding that we would lose through the Children's Services Council. It's roughly $7 million and an additional $7 or $8 million that we draw down. It's a huge amount of money that people don't actually realize is coming into this community. So as Sean mentioned, get educated about it. We do have some information on our website. We can certainly answer questions if anybody has them. We'll be out doing speaking engagements forever.
Just educational about it.
Yeah.
But I will say about the United Way, because they gave us a little shout out at their function.
did.
You know, a lot of what we do in partnership with the United Way. I don't know the exact number, but you know, for example, I'm going to pick on Frontline for Kids. You know, we provide funding, and so does the United Way. You know, because obviously we don't fund a program 100%.
Right.
We want them to have buy-in. The United Way doesn't fund anybody 100%. So you know, combined together, we're impacting a lot of families in St. Lucie County. All right, so we have 2 guests. Surprise to you, we have 2 guests in the studio. We have, is it Officer or
Yes.
Officer Danny Dry Center?
Very
Yes,
good,
I got
Sean.
your last name right.
He's been
Wow.
practicing.
I was actually in my head. I'm like, am I going to
10
try
years
it? Am
of
I going
knowing
to
you,
try
you're
it?
just now practicing. Okay, all right.
I know you as Danny, but other people know you as Dee Dee.
Yes.
Dee Dee.
And I want to know, how well do I have to get to know you to call you Dee Dee?
You're in.
All right.
You're in.
All right.
All the
Mission
kids
accomplished.
call you Dee Dee.
Yeah,
don't
it's a
they?
lot. Well, yeah.
Officer
'cause I-
Dee Dee.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I try to avoid using that first name for the kids.
But about 2 weeks ago, we had Shanique Maynard on the radio program, the new director of the Roundtable of St. Lucie County, and we briefly touched upon all that the Roundtable does, but we mentioned about a big event that's coming up that we need everybody to turn out for. It's September 30th, and I'm not going to tease it too much, but Danny is here to talk about it and her role in it, and to really get or maybe not. I saw a head shake. I saw a head shake in the corner of my eye. But to talk about the event, why we need everybody there, and to get everybody motivated to come out on September 30th.
And I'm very excited about it because, and Rosanna, thank you for leading up to that again, too. You kind of push that. Get involved, and I think that's such a huge thing, whether it's for, the kids that are supported through CSC, the kids are with New Horizons, our kids in our community. Now, I don't care if you live in Port St. Lucie or White City or whatever. The kids in our community are St. Lucie County kids, and they're all of our kids, not just, those are those, and those are those, and those are those. Or, we get people oftentimes saying, I don't have kids, what do I care? Well, you should care, because those kids can potentially, break into your house or, become an issue if we don't keep them engaged, So
Keep them off the streets.
Keep them off the streets, exactly. And keep them engaged in positive activities. There's so many positive activities, I can't even begin to tell you how many times we go to meetings, community meetings, and people say there's nothing to do. There's tons to do.
Yeah. That's the voice she does.
That's my voice.
And that's the whole reason why we have this program.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there's tons to do. So, all that being said, we, some people might remember that over the last year or two, we've had some Restoring the Village meetings, which were spearheaded by Representative Larry Lee and the Restoring the Village initiative at the Lincoln Park Academy. And through all of those meetings that we had, people were coming out and saying, we need something. We need a program. We need something to address the violence that's happening in our community. So earlier this year, a contingency of people from the school board, from the Roundtable, from the police department, from the Department of Juvenile Justice, went to a training in Dallas to learn more about the comprehensive gang model that is sponsored by the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, OJJDP, how to put it together. And it's a model that encompasses everything. Rosanna earlier was talking about wraparound services, and that's, I think, been an issue throughout the years, that, we do really good with the suppression aspect of things when youth get out of hand, but we haven't really done a whole lot to help them and their families as far as food insufficiency, mental health counseling, academics, housing, those kind of things. So a lot of stakeholders have come to the table and have decided to embrace this model, and we really want to inform the community about what this model is about, so that they too can learn to embrace the model and hopefully support the model and what it is that it's trying to do to help our community. So on September 30th at 6:30 at the Lincoln Park Academy, what's it called, the auditorium. We will have a community forum. People from the National Gang Center are actually going to be there to talk about the gang model and how it can help our community. And that's huge. I mean, we have people coming from, far away, trainers from far away, people who have done this model in their communities and implemented it, and it's doing well. And we have those people coming to us, they've chosen us basically to come to us and say, yes, here's what it can do for your community too. But we want the community to come out. This is not going to work if the community is not behind us 110%. So the involvement and the buy-in from the community has to be there. We want the people to come out, listen to what they have to say, ask questions if you have questions to ask. Shanique and I are available for questions as well as we proceed through all of this. But it's a model that has worked. It's a best practices model, and you ask for something, we're bringing you something. Check it out, learn about it, and that's really what we want. And we want kids there. Our stakeholders, we had a very cool meeting yesterday. Now, our stakeholders are the kids. Those are the ones that we're trying to help. We want a ton of kids there. Your youth groups, your sororities, fraternities, your Boys and Girls Club. We want the kids there. We want the kids to hear, hey, do you think this will work in our community? Will that make a difference? If you're a kid that's on the border of maybe, going the wrong way, would services like this help you and your family? And it's not just about that kid either. Over the years, I keep getting people to come to me with, hey, I want to have this organization for kids. I have this nonprofit that I want to found for kids. My first question is always, what are you doing for the parents? Well, nothing. I just want to help the kids. Well, you can't help the kids unless you help the parents, So, and I'm not saying that the parents are bad or horrible or whatever. Some just need some help. So, and this model just encompasses everything. It's really like the full meal deal, if you will.
I have to say, Danny, I really love the postcard that you guys are using because it has a huge picture of a microphone on it. And I think that it's so important. You've mentioned we've had these community forums before, and people have gotten up and stated what they wanted, and we're finally bringing that to them. And I really hope that those people show up to support. We're bringing you what you asked for. That this is what we've done. We went out and did our research. We found the thing that worked, and this is what we're bringing back. So I really hope that our community gets behind it and stays involved, because it's not something that an overseeing hand can come in and say, these are all the things you need to have in place. We really have to do it together.
And you have to understand, it's not something that's just going to be stooped over the community. This is part of the community. They have to work with this. They have to be involved in it. They have to be engaged with it. It's the community that's going to make the impact. It's not you and me as outsiders coming in, even though, where I work, I'm not an outsider, but still, I don't live there. I don't have to deal with it every day. But, the people that live there and deal with it every day, we need you at the table. We want you at the table. We want your input. We want to know, how can this work in that community?
This is an open invitation.
Yes,
and
it is.
They've had 2 community forums going back almost a year.
Yeah.
And it was packed the first time, not so packed the second time.
Right.
We need to get everybody involved.
Exactly.
And what I like about this strategy, what I've learned about it is, and I'm not an expert by any means, is that it lays on top of what's already happening in the community.
Yes.
It's not an outside group saying we're going to do it this way.
Right.
It only works if everybody, all the nonprofit organizations work with it, all the churches work with it, all the businesses, all the residents. It takes all those moving parts to work together and channel their energy towards one strategy, identifying the right kids, the right members at the right time, getting them connected to a lot of what's already existing in our community. But the fact is that it only works if the community buys into it. There's no Superman coming, going to swoop in and I got it all taken care of. That's not going to happen. It's not one agency's responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility.
Exactly. And two, what I want to mention, it's, we have made over the years, we can make referrals. We can make referrals to New Horizons. We can make referrals to Frontline for Kids or whatever. We can make referrals up the wazoo. Bottom line is, sometimes people run into red tape making those referrals. Because we have already combined ourselves with the roundtable, and everybody at the roundtable has bought into it, and the steering committee members of this whole process have bought into it, and there's so many different stakeholders, housing authority. I mean, there's just tons of them. I can go on and on and on. Because that's already in existence, we're cutting through some red tape. So if we have an individual, a youth, that we want to look at and help out, there's a multidisciplinary team that's going to cover not just that youth, but his brothers and sisters, his mom, his dad, his grandma, grandpa, whoever is involved in this kid's life from all aspects. And because everybody's bought into it, that red tape, it's not just a piece of paper here, I'm going to give you a referral to go to wherever. We're past that. Because those people are already sitting at the table. You don't need to have that referral necessary. They're already sitting at the table and are engaged in your family.
And they're coming to introduce the strategy and its education, but there's still community input that's needed because this
Absolutely.
is just the beginning.
Absolutely.
As we look to what services to connect with who, we need input. If there's going to be new resources brought in,
Right.
how to involve the faith community and the business
Yes.
community and neighbors, and I don't want people thinking, oh, come to this community mobilization meeting and they're just going to tell us what they're already doing. This is the
Exactly.
beginning.
This is the very beginning.
And you need to be
yes.
in on the ground floor and give input at the ground floors because, it starts with one step. This is
Yep.
that first step.
Yep. Something that people might not realize, we're in the assessment phase of all of this. And as part of the assessment, there are a lot of surveys and forums and discussion groups that we're holding with a number of different people. There are like 7 different surveys / interview sheets that we're doing right now with a ton of people. The youth, gang-involved youth, parents, community members, community leaders, youth-involved agencies,
Faith
parents, faith. I mean, we're at so many different, and we want to get everybody's input. So even though we may have not personally, gotten you engaged, but if somebody comes up with that's your input. We need to get that input, and if you just kind of fly through it and don't mark anything, we don't have a whole lot to go on.
Right.
It's great to stand up in the middle of a meeting and say blah blah, but we need something in our hands too that we can put on an assessment so that we know exactly what we need to plug in where, and that your voice will be heard, and that's why we're doing these things.
And what's interesting about it too is we may start in a specific geographic area, but as we are effective in doing what we do and that violence goes away, but it pops up somewhere else.
Absolutely.
That whole strategy, it's mobile.
It's mobile.
So it goes to wherever the hot
Completely
spot is.
Completely mobile, and the way it is designed, we can make it fit to whatever, because certain parts of Fort Pierce might not require the same thing as certain parts in Port St. Lucie. So we can adjust it, and we could tweak it. It's totally movable and adjustable, so that's a good thing. So please come out on September 30th, 6:30, Lincoln Park Academy, to that community information forum.
I like it on the card, which is a very cool card. I like the graphic. It says, "Get involved and stay
Yes.
informed."
That's right.
If you
That's
don't
right.
come,
Absolutely.
don't complain about it afterwards. Is what we're saying. You got to come. September 30th. That is a
Tuesday.
Tuesday night
Tuesday
at
next week.
6:30 p.m. Oh, that's because I'm not going to be here for the radio
Yeah,
program.
thanks.
That's right.
Uh,
Next week, Tuesday.
Tuesday, September 30th, 6:30 p.m. Lincoln Park Academy's auditorium. As it says, community mobilization meeting. Get involved and stay informed. Be there.
Yes, please. Be there.
Be there. All right. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for squeezing me in.
That's. I told you that before. I'm not going to be at the
Yeah, I
radio
know.
program, but it's
I'll be
okay.
here
As
by
we talked
myself.
about, you're better alone than I am alone.
I don't think that that's true, but
All right. Well, we got a few more minutes. I have actually something else that I want to share, and I apologize. I'm not super prepared on it, but there is an event. I'll call it an event for lack of a better word. The whole reason why we have this radio program is we went to community forums 3-4 years ago, and people would say we need parenting support, and we're in the back
Right.
like biting our tongue, like there's parenting support, or we need an after-school program, like there's a Boys and Girls Club half a block away. To connect people to resources. So in that same light, if you will, there's an event on Wednesday, October 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Sunrise Theater. It's a free event. It's called Breaking the Chain, From Schoolyard Bullying to Adult Abuse. A special presentation to introduce available resources for educators and community stakeholders. So who is going to be speaking? And this is sponsored by the Roy A. Hunt Foundation. There'll be 3 presentations, and then there'll be a panel presentation of all 3. Mindy Fetterman from the Inner Truth Project will be talking about her resource. Joe the biker will be talking about the Yubby Foundation that concentrates on bullying, and Deanna's Educational Theater will talk about using arts and theater to educate and talk about dating violence. These are all resources available in the community. Come out. It's a free event. If you're involved in the community, if you're an educator, if you just want to get involved and know about the resources, Wednesday, October 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. I'm going to get much more educated on this because yours truly will be the MC of the event.
I know.
But that's not too bad off the top of my head.
How
right?
come you didn't make the flyer?
Because I wanted people to attend. But again, it's Breaking the Chain from Schoolyard Bullying to Adult Abuse, a special presentation about 3 resources that are available in the community. Each resource, the Inner Truth Project with Minnie Fetterman, Joe the Biker with the Yubby Foundation, and Deanna's Educational Theater are going to talk about what they do, and then they're going to come back together at the end for a panel discussion to talk about abuse that includes, abuse and violence is cyclical a lot. A lot of times it happens to a child. They either get bullied or they're abused as a child. They grow up as an adult, and they either are abused or become a victim, and it becomes a cycle.
Yes.
So come learn about these so that we can start pulling adults and children out of this cycle and stop violence in our community. Again, Wednesday, October 15th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Yours truly will be hosting, but come for these people. The Inner Truth Project, Joe the Biker, and Deanna's Educational Theater.
You don't think people would come for you? I think they would.
No. All right, you got anything else you want to announce?
No, I will just mention quickly, one of the things that you just said, one of the first things that we heard from the community forums was that people were asking for parenting support. They needed parenting skill building, they needed parenting help, they needed someone to ask questions to, and we have made it an effort over the last few years to provide free parenting classes, and we try to do it in various locations throughout the community and provide those classes free of charge, because we know that that's sometimes an obstacle for families. So there are several classes that are actually scheduled right now. You can get all of the information about them on our website, which is cscslc.org. I can tell you right now we are offering them in English and in Spanish, which is awesome. We have an amazing Spanish facilitator for those classes, but we have some that are starting as early as next week. So if you are in need of services immediately, please find the information on our website. They are happening at Bayshore Elementary next week, and then starting in January, we'll be doing one at the St. Lucie County WIC location for women, infant, and children right there in St. Lucie West. So all the information is on our website. You can get dates and times and locations and all of that there.
But if you can't make a class, just in case, there is parenting support that will come to your home and work directly with you. Go to our website, cscslc.org. Look it up. There's programs through Castle, Hibiscus, and many more that will come directly to your door. So that is the end of our show. We want to thank you for tuning in and listening. Thanks to our guests who stuck around the whole time. Thank you very much. Remember, it's a weekly radio program, so Ashley will be back next week. I, however, will not.
Thanks
I'll
for
see you
that.
the week after. Happy early anniversary.
Thank you.
And to your husband, who's a huge supporter not only of the show and clearly of you, but also of Children's Services Council.
Yes.
Thanks, Rob.
Oh, to him. Thanks.
I was confused. It's your birthday. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, it's our children, our community, our future. We're in this together. We'll see you next week.